So it was always clear that if we deliver Taurus, this weapon will not be used by German soldiers, but by Ukrainians.
Colonel Ruslan Goryachkin, the commander of Russia's 8th Combined Arms Army, was killed in a Ukrainian missile strike using Storm Shadow missiles in Donetsk. The precise hit on the Russian unit's headquarters occurred on the evening of June 30th. The death of the high-ranking officer was reported by Ukrainian soldier and blogger Anatoly Stefan Stirlitz. Storm Shadow cruise missiles were launched toward Crimea, Donetsk, and Russia's Rostov region. The headquarters of the 8th Combined Arms Army, located in the Donetsk Institute of Non-Ferrous Metals building near the local shopping mall, came under attack. Reports from Abkhaz public forums confirm that Goryachkin died on June 30th while performing his duty in a combat zone. It is known that the officer was born and raised in Sukhumi, Abkhazia. Goryachkin dedicated his life to the Russian army from a young age, rising through the ranks from cadet to army commander. On the night of June 29th, the Russian military carried out a massive attack on Ukraine. On that day, Russian forces launched 537 drones and missiles. Additionally, in the early hours of July 1st, Russian forces targeted Zaporizhzhia with Shahed's kamikaze drones, causing damage to private homes and businesses. And another Russian commander is gone. Yaroslav Gennadievich Salkov, Guards Lieutenant and platoon commander of Russia's 810th Separate Guards Marine Brigade, has been also killed in Kursk Oblast. Unfortunately, there are losses on Ukrainian side too. Colonel Zaharovich, commander of Ukraine's 110th Separate Mechanized Brigade, was killed in a Russian missile strike on Huliaipol, President Zelensky confirmed. Russians who have lost arms, legs, or eyes are being sent into assaults in Ukraine with little chance of survival. Despite severe injuries, they are either being denied a fitness assessment or are arbitrarily being rated fit. The men call themselves meat on crutches. A Russian soldier has spoken of his experiences with a so-called cripple battalion, a unit comprised of injured soldiers, which rather than recuperating or being allowed to heal or get treatment, is sent to the front line to take part in fresh assaults. 37-year-old Anton Savchenko from Tyumen, an ethnic Ukrainian with many relatives in Ukraine, volunteered to go to war in October 2024, saying that he had to help. However, he soon regretted it, according to his relatives. Within less than a month, he had lost his left eye. Did they pull them out? Are you kidding? They didn't even let him go to the hospital. Savchenko told his family, "We are running along the forest belt. It is very inconvenient to aim. The left eye does not see at all. The second eye is also failing." He was wounded again 2 days later in another assault in which larger fragments lodged in his body. This time he was taken to hospital and told he would be given a fitness category of D, permanently disabled. Instead, however, he was taken back to Ukraine in April 2025. His mother says, on 17 May, he called and managed to say that their entire company was crippled, some without an arm, some on crutches with shrapnel not just all over their bodies but in their vital organs. And this entire company of invalids was sent to storm again. To be honest, I thought that was it. And my son had disappeared from contact, but the day before he called, "Mom, I survived, but I'm a colander. A drone flew into my back. His entire back was covered in shrapnel. Now they're taking him to the hospital." But they wrote shrapnel in soft tissue. That is, only another 10 days in the hospital, and they'll take him back to slaughter. His entire back is like a sieve, but they'll still send him back. Everyone who survived in this company of cripples will be gathered again and driven into such a meaty storm. The relative of another man in the same unit says that he has been denied a fitness assessment of EVK, despite him having lost a spleen and still having a bullet in his lung. She says, "I don't understand. Either there's no one else to take, or they're saving on treatment. Like if they're going to kill him now, they don't have to perform an operation or pay for 3 consecutive wounds. The funeral expenses will probably be cheaper for them." A third man was wounded in the eye. The second time, his legs were seriously injured. One of them was amputated at the knee, and the second almost failed due to injuries. He is on crutches. Literally without half a leg. At first he was sent to a rehabilitation course, but in the end it was not started on time. They waited a long time for the results of the VVK. In the end, he was given Category B, fit for military service with restrictions. And they sent the legless man there behind the ribbon to the front. There have been many other such cases, such as that of 32-year-old Dmitry Mishin, who lost his right arm in the summer of 2024. Despite being assigned to Category D and told that he was subject to dismissal, he was then told by commanders that nobody was being allowed to leave the army. Such accounts corroborate the testimony of the Russian doctor covered in the thread below, who says that she was ordered to write fit to those who couldn't fight because he simply does not have an arm, leg, prosthetic eye, and so on. Another soldier assigned to a cripple battalion also recently testified on video that there are even one-armed and one-legged people among us. They forged all our documents, registered us as completely healthy. Russian soldiers on crutches or even in wheelchairs have been a fairly frequent sight on the front lines in Ukraine. It appears that Russia has adopted the Warhammer 40K slogan, "Only in death does duty end." The United States has temporarily paused the delivery of several key types of ammunition and missiles to Ukraine, including those used in air defense systems. Nick Schifrin, Foreign Affairs and Defense correspondent for PBS NewsHour, reported on this. The suspended supplies include critical air defense missiles for Patriot systems, as well as GMLRS, Stinger, and AIM-7 missiles, along with 155mm artillery rounds. The transfer was halted entirely, even for weapons that had already reached transit points, including in Poland, and they were not delivered further into Ukraine. The Pentagon emphasizes that this does not mean a complete halt to military aid, but rather a reassessment of its priorities. The primary goal is to ensure the readiness of U.S. forces to respond to potential unforeseen threats, especially amid rising global tensions. This decision was made to put America's interests first following a DoD review of our nation's military support and assistance to other countries across the globe. The strength of the United States Armed Forces remains unquestioned. Just ask Iran. Anna Kelly, Deputy White House Press Secretary, stated. The temporary pause is expected to help the U.S. military replenish its own weapons stockpiles. Meanwhile, it is reported that President Donald Trump's administration will soon present an updated strategy for aid to Ukraine, which will offer a more flexible approach to weapons deliveries, taking into account changes both on the battlefield and within U.S. arsenals. Meanwhile, European leaders are working to independently provide Ukraine with the necessary weapons, much of which has already been depleted. Despite this, Europe remains committed to ramping up production of critically important weapons for Ukraine, including SAMP-T missiles, artillery ammunition, and efforts to accelerate the development of a European alternative to the US-based Starlink system. Militarny previously reported that European countries had significantly increased their aid to Ukraine, surpassing the level of support provided by the United States. NATO countries in Europe, along with Canada, have already exceeded the amount of military aid the U.S. provided to Ukraine in 2024, and they are capable of continuing to scale up their support even if American aid is halted entirely. According to Major General Christian Freuding, these countries have supplied around 60% of the total Western military assistance to Ukraine. He also emphasized that the key factor is political will, which enables quicker responses to new challenges and lays the groundwork for sustained long-term support. Merz keeps being mysterious about Taurus. Taurus missiles for Ukraine remain on the table, says German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, but no agreement has been reached with President Zelensky yet. Alleged months-long training has not even started.
So it was always clear that if we deliver Taurus, this weapon will not be used by German soldiers but by Ukrainians, just as is the case with other cruise missiles delivered from Great Britain and France. Now, with us, the problem is that this system is extremely complicated and it takes at least 6 months to train soldiers on it. We have not agreed on that yet. I have talked about it with Zelensky. I have also discussed it in the coalition. We have not started that yet. It remains an option, but I also said we will no longer publicly discuss what weapons we deliver and what we do to support Ukraine militarily in this way. Because I want Putin to have some uncertainty about what we do militarily. One thing is certain, and I will say it once more here in this broadcast. Germany will not become a party to the war.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comments section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week, it's 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.